everyone, welcome back. It's episode 13 of the Horns Up Podcast, your weekly catch-up on all things metal. I am your host, Dan Kaplan. With me, as always, coming to us live from inside Mr. Lordy's makeup kit, my good friend Corey Butterworth. Corey, how's it going?
Good. I feel like there's a lot of super glue in this kit. It's concerning. But also explains a lot.
There's a lot of things in this kit. Are you more in the wings or the facial makeup section?
Oh, it's all facial. I only go for facials.
I'm not even gonna touch that one.
So many directions, so many tangents, going in none of them.
Yeah. Anyway, what's been going on? We got 3 weeks till your big trip coming up. Your big pilgrimage to Wacken. How's everything going with that?
Yeah, I leave this area that we call a place. Jesus Christ! I leave 2 weeks from Friday, actually, which is coming up extremely quickly. I've been playing around though, aside from studying the German thing, which I gave up for 3 months because I'm an idiot. The Wacken website recently released their running order tool, which basically gives you a list of all the bands that are playing, and you just run through. It's like a checklist. You check off the ones that you want to see, and it spits out a calendar to your app telling you where you need to be and when to see said bands over the course of the 4 days. And it's pretty cool. Unfortunately, avoiding overlaps is damn near impossible. Like, I'm going to have to battle to see like Carcass and Behemoth, for example, and that's going to be a pain in my dick. But aside from that...
That's any music festival, though. It's always tough.
It is. I mean, Christ, it's 123 bands, like 5 stages. There's going to be some issues.
Yeah.
But it's just playing around with it. So, we're getting close. I got to start doing, like, real prepping. Once this World Cup comes and goes, which we'll talk about more later, I'll be able to focus more on it. But obviously, there's a lot going on right now, and, it's starting to hit me that it's inching closer every day.
Yeah. Have you, when you, you're doing your prep work, I know you mentioned, like, the scheduling app and everything. Like, have you come across any new bands that, like... maybe you hadn't heard before, but are just like really, really hooking you in? That you're
Absolutely. I'm working on a Wacken playlist for myself just to kind of familiarize myself with those that haven't been introduced to yet. The first band that came to mind, I think I've actually may have mentioned them to you at one point, was Ensteel. Crazy black metal, like crazy over the top black metal, but still crazy black metal. Fawn's pretty cool. My cousin actually introduced me to a band which I thought was out there, but a decent listen. Trying to remember who they are right now. Van Canto, who I guess is pretty popular over in the Bavaria region, which should be a good time as well. So yeah, I'm starting to find new ones. Sean Mall's another one. So it's gonna, I'm gonna try to see as much as I can. But fortunately enough for me, all these like smaller bands, they're kind of more like interspersed throughout the 5 days, so it won't be hard, catching them here and there. Nice. But shit, 123. I'm sure I'll catch something else I like besides, the 40 or so I wrote down. But we'll see.
I know. Like game I always play at festivals when there's like multiple bands on at once. It's like if I don't know, if it's like early in the day and I don't know anyone, I'm just gonna be like, well, I'll pick whatever band name sounds cooler and check those guys out. That's kind of what I meant. Which is how I came across Diarrhea Planet at Governor's Ball, and that became a top 5 show I've ever seen ever. So
yeah, no, that's exactly it. That's what I've been doing. I've been going down the list, and I'm going to listen to all of them before I go. At least just a snippet of them, like a top 5 playlist or something for each band. But I have been basically going down in order of band names that sound the most interesting or logos that sound the most or look the most awesome. I mean, I came across a Pale Horse Named Death because it looked kind of like doomy, folky. I thought maybe something along the lines of Aglock, and it really wasn't, but they're awesome. Mm-hmm. So junk like that's kind of how I'm doing things. I mean, Christ, dude, I'm going to be at this festival by myself. I'm going to have a lot of time to find new bands. That's nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Well, I can only imagine what the vibe is going to be like over there if everything holds up, if everything comes up Millhouse for the German soccer team.
The National Mannschaft.
Oh, by the way, demolished the shit out of the hosts Brazil in Tuesday's semifinal. Going to be playing Argentina in the final on Sunday. What do you think of this?
Spoiler alert. My horn's up.
Well, then let's not ruin it now. But yeah, you got to be excited.
I've been ecstatic. I mean, I've got like Germany kits hanging all over my wall. I've been, just drinking German beer and listening to German music. I'm pretty much all in. Gonna be a little shindig at the house for it with my German roommate, plural. So it'll be. I need to say I'm excited, but yeah, more on that later, obviously, because of World Cup.
Well, anyway, let's move right into our normal routine here. We'll get into some headlines. A lot of news this week. Kicking off, we've got tour announcements galore. Right off the bat, we have another announcement from Mastodon, Gojira, and Kvelertak, who you may remember toured earlier this spring. We both saw. They evidently liked each other so much that they're doing it all again. They're going around this fall, hitting some smaller markets. I know they're hitting, for example, the New York area. They're hitting Huntington, which is out on Long Island. That is a Friday show, and that is Friday Halloween night at the Paramount Theater in Huntington. This may be a must.
A must after already musted this show. They'll be in Portland, Maine for me, which is a little further away than Boston is to the south and a slightly smaller city. But from what I hear, my roommate, who's from that area, I guess the venue they play at is like absolutely insane. I think if you're Friday night, this is probably Saturday or Sunday night, so I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. I mean, if Kevin's gonna head to New York City, then obviously might be something I look into. Obviously, I need to check in on the whole time because, let's face it, I used a lot of vacation on this vacation coming up.
It's hard to bounce back from 2 weeks off and and have any vacation time left.
Right, for the rest of the year. No, I know. But I should still have a few days. So I'm kind of, those details will be figured out as they come. But needless to say, I'm fired up to see this same show again because, to be completely honest, out of the three of those, obviously I felt highly of Kvelertak after I saw him. But Gojira, I mean, they stole the show for me. They really did.
Oh, Gojira always puts on a show. Yeah, they're incredible live.
They were, and I forgot how much. And it was just their sound was so big and it was so good. I'm fired up for the show again. Can't wait.
Yeah. And I'm really interested to see what Mastodon does with the Once More Around the Sun material live, because I remember when we saw them before, they had done the Hunter and we were kind of like toward it, but then we saw it live and that material really resonated a lot more.
Right.
And you take an album like Once More Around the Sun, which we both kind of enjoyed.
Right.
I'm sort of curious how much better that shit sounds. That's kind of in a live setting.
That's how Mastodon's work for me. I mean, I buy an album and I think, okay, it's fine, and then I either see it live or I revisit it, 6 months down the line. I'm like, okay, this shit's really, really good. This album, I listened to it the first time, and I wasn't like, man, I'll put this away for a while. I thought it was really good. So
yeah,
I'm like you said, I'm curious as to how I react to actually seeing the songs performed. Who knows? But it'll be fun.
So we will see. That's going to be a fun set. The bands all clearly like each other, so I am very much looking forward to that. Again, Mastodon, Gojira, and Kvelertak. We had another tour announcement from. This is going to be a power lineup. We have Pallbearer, Tombs, and Vatnet Viskar. This is huge. I'm really, really looking forward to this tour. Already caught Vatnet Viskar earlier this year at the Acheron in Brooklyn. They killed it. Tombs, I know we both love that record. That's one of my favorite metal albums of 2014 so far. And I mean, I've been wanting to see Pallbearer for a while now too. So the three of them together is just, it's going to be epic. I know you love Vatnet Viskar. So
dude, I mean, those are my boys. I mean, seriously. I saw them when they had just put out their very, very, very short EP, which had a 1 minute intro song and then 3 songs that succeeded it, and they were just touring at very, very, very small venues around the Seacoast, New Hampshire area, because they're from middle part of the state, and they were cool guys, and they've seen some lineup changes since then. There's only 2 continuing members since that EP came out, but they've been all over the friggin' place, dude. They've been they were playing festivals out in Europe. They've been all over the States this past year. Like they've blown up on me. It's unbelievable. It's like seeing a little kid be like, oh hey, you grew too fast. But I'm fired up for him. I'm fired up to see him in a bigger setting, really.
Yeah, the metal blogosphere loves them. Even the non-metal blogosphere loves them. Pitchfork has been giving them a whole bunch of attention, deservedly so.
Yeah.
And so they're really they've been going places. But I think this will be for them this will be like the third time this year that they hit the New York market, because I saw them in early March. They're playing, or maybe have already played by this point, I can't remember. They're playing another show at any rate this month sometime in Brooklyn, and then they're coming back again in October, and it's just like, Jesus Christ. But hey, that's how you got to do it. You build your following, you get out there, you become road warriors, and they're doing it the right way.
Yeah, no question. So, and that'll be a Monday night for you, by the way.
I know, I'm not looking forward to it, but for that lineup, like, I might have to just suck it up. Actually, I saw them on a Monday in March too, so fuck it, I'll go check it out. Yeah. But anyway, the final tour, it's not really an announcement, but the final tour, we'll call it speculation, comes from two bands that we hold very near and dear. We're talking about potential tour from Carcass and Obituary. Nothing is official yet. This is still, again, this is speculation, but Carcass's Facebook page put up a post earlier this week with the caption, something about a possible tour with their, quote, redneck chums. And the picture was an image of the Obituary logo. Nothing official yet, but I mean, we saw Carcass at MDF last year. Absolutely killed it. Yep. I'd be all about this, frankly.
Dude, friggin' Carcass, man. They disappear, obviously, just because they're old as shit. They come back for MDF last year. They put out a new album. And I could have, if with this concert, this becomes like a real thing, I'd have the opportunity of seeing them, 4 times in under 2.5 years, all of a sudden, out of the blue. Because, I mean, obviously MDF last year, I had an opportunity to see them earlier this year, which I did not attend, mostly because I had just seen them and I knew I was going to be seeing them at Wacken. And then this. So it's like, all of a sudden, and this would have been made it worth. This would have made sitting out the last potential show worth it. But again, let's hope this actually happens. But either way, it'd be insane, absolutely insane.
Yeah. They bring a lot of energy. I mean, you could tell like they're clearly thrilled to be back, and their live show shows that. So if and when this happens, you can bet we will keep you posted. Definitely something I'll want to check out. Not being a Wacken goer yet, not having the chance to see them again over in Germany yet. But so yeah, Carcass and Obituary, keep fingers crossed, people, because that would be an awesome tour. Yeah. And that will wrap up our first story. Again, some really cool tour announcements, potential tour speculation so far this week. Next up in the headlines, we have news from Ghost, who may have been outed by one of Corey's favorite bands, Behemoth. You have a big shit-eating grin on your face. You seem kind of proud of this.
I just find this fucking hilarious. I really do. I mean, I'll let you go into the details behind the story and figure out why this is such a big deal, but I just think it's amusing as shit. I really do.
So Ghost, as I'm sure you're all aware, Ghost performs entirely in costumes. They have, the singer Papa Emeritus plays, a zombie pope costume, and then the rest of the bands wear masks and monk costumes, and they call themselves the Nameless Ghouls. They're all anonymous. However, one Adam Darsky, one Nurgle, frontman of Behemoth, posted a picture to his Instagram this past weekend with one Tobias Forge, who is a Swedish metal guy who has long been rumored to be the actual identity of Papa Emeritus. This has never been confirmed, but Nurgle just took a selfie, posted it with Tobias, and gave us the caption, quote, "If you have ghosts, you have everything." Now, this is important because this is the lyric from a song by Rocky Erickson, which Ghost covered last year on their If You Have Ghost EP. Now, this isn't, again, nothing has been confirmed yet, but if at this point it's not Tobias Forge, like, come on. Like, well, how could it not be?
Well, hold on just a second. First of all, the connections would lead you to believe that Nurgle would only hang out with awesome people because he's awesome. But besides that, Nurgle's also a smart dude, and he knows rumors about certain things, and he's in tune with all the social media things going on. So he's well aware that it's been long rumored that Tobias Forge is, Papa Emeritus, or Dad who's sometimes there.
That's right.
So you have to take into consideration that Nurgle might just be trolling everybody, trying to drop like a bigger hint just to fuck with people. I wouldn't put him past him to do that. I really wouldn't, knowing it's rumored that he's the guy.
This is true. However, if that was the case, he has since deleted that picture from Instagram.
Oh well, I didn't know that. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. So if it was a troll move, like I have trouble seeing him taking this thing down.
Yeah.
But for what it's worth, the band has come out, and I mean they haven't commented on this particular situation, but an interview with one of the nameless ghouls, he said that this kind of thing, that eventually it's just going to be inevitable. Like eventually their identities are going to leak. We've seen it happen with Lordy, just all over the place.
Yeah.
But they insisted they'd be carrying on even if their identities are revealed, because they're about the spectacle, they're about that aesthetic, and good for them for being good sports about it. It kind of sucks if that's the case. Not for us, because we all kind of were thinking that it was this guy anyway.
Right.
But for keeping it unofficial as long as they have, you have to admire it.
Oh, it's been legit. They've been doing this for as long as they have. But again, the proof isn't exactly out there, and I'm sorry, but a caption on a picture is a hint, yes, and it's strong speculation, but until somebody actually says, "Yeah, I'm the dude," it's nothing official. So who knows?
See, you're selling it. I'm buying it at this point. I think
that's fine.
I think it's probably this dude. But
well, no,
we'll
I
see.
think it is too. But it's not like it's been official that his identity's been revealed. It just adds fuel to the fire is more what I'm getting at.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
Well, anyway, so that is the news from Ghost. If you have Nurgle, you have identities, apparently.
He has two of them.
So, yeah. Our next item, we have news coming out of France. Varg Vikernes, otherwise known as Count Grishnak, otherwise known as the force behind Burzum. Yeah, otherwise known as Grade A piece of shit, has been found guilty by a French court of inciting racial hatred and defending war crimes. Because of course he has. This is only a guy who served time in jail for murdering an old bandmate. This is only a guy who is an admitted racist, things like that. He was sentenced to 6 months in prison and an €8,000 fine. Now it has been proven that he's a racist before. There's evidence of this. This particular instance, he tried to deny. He claims it wasn't him. It was someone else who had posed as him on the internet. But who knows? The shoe fits.
Yeah.
It's such a Varg thing to do, to incite racial hatred online. And he's of course previously been accused in France of plotting terrorist attacks. Got off on lack of evidence.
I finally have a reason to commend France.
I know, seriously. When did we ever cheer France on for shit?
I don't think I ever have for anything.
For once, France didn't surrender. They they held firm and they laid down the law. Albeit it's a bit of a bullshit sentence. He got 6 months in prison and €8,000 fine. I mean, that's kind of a joke.
Yeah.
But can Varg just go away? He's just such a waste of life.
Yeah, he needs to go back to the grim white north of Norway and just hang out in a cabin for the rest of his life and just not be associated with people. That's really what he needs to be, just to buy himself away from people.
He needs to become Squiscar Squigelf's dad and just become a lumberjack and forget about music.
Yeah, for the most part.
Because the Burzum stuff is all the same now. It's all this dark ambient stuff. I mean,
right.
Come on, over and over again. Just give up, dude.
Oh wait, dark ambient music. We'll probably be touching on that a little bit more later. Not Burzum though.
Not Burzum, but yes. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the news from Varg. I don't really want to talk about him anymore because fuck that guy.
That's cool.
And finally, we've got some new stuff coming out. Just a whole mishmash of upcoming album announcements, single announcements, video announcements, things like that. Corey, I know you got a chance to watch some of the videos. We have new videos from Elvati and In Flames, from their, both from upcoming studio releases. What'd you think of these?
Well, I'll start with In Flames because, of course, I will.
In Flames, of course, released a video for their song Rusted Nail.
Right. That song I'm still not crazy about. I will say some of the content within the song grew on me a touch since I last heard it. I still don't like the main riff or, most of the song, but like some parts of it are catchy, like the chorus and stuff. Excluding all that because we've already talked about the song itself. The video, it was okay at best. It was kind of cool at parts. I mean, basically what happened was, just to kind of summarize a little bit, you cut to the scene of some old guy in a boat rowing towards like this island with a lighthouse on it, and there's clips of that, and then you cut to like the band and like this weird open studio type of thing, and you cut back to the boat, and then all of a sudden it's just 3 minutes of just the band. No idea where they're going with that boat in that ocean. Nowhere, pretty much. So it's just the band playing the song for 3.5 minutes, and then right at the end of the video, it cuts right back to the boat in the ocean again, and the video ends. It's kind of like, I don't get it. Really no plot whatsoever, and I don't really understand what that imagery was for. I will say that the video starts in black and white, and the song, the intro riff, the little lick they play, the video stays in black and white, and then when it breaks into the heavier section of the song, the main verse, and throughout the song, it cuts to color, which is kind of cool, and then it fades back to black and white for the end of it. So that imagery was kind of neat.
Nice.
But that was kind of really the only thing that it had going for it, I guess. I mean, how many videos have they put out that are just them playing somewhere? Like all of them.
Yeah.
Like all of them, really. I mean,
too many. Well, except for what was it? The lead song from Sense of Purpose.
Mirror's Truth.
Mirror's Truth.
Yeah.
When they had like those bizarro like stuffed animal type things that were.
I can think
that was fucking weird.
I know. I can think of a few. That was one of them. Take This Life was one of them. The Quiet Place was one of them.
Fuck those.
Yeah, I know.
The Quiet Place and Take This Life.
I'm just listening to videos here, man. I'm not saying the songs are good. I'm just listening to videos here, because then you think of like, shit. What was the single off of the previous album?
Deliver Us.
Deliver Us. They were playing their instruments on a fucking Ferris wheel. I mean, it's always them playing somewhere. This was no different.
This is true.
The second video that I watched today, I think I shared these links like 3 days ago, and I got around to them today. Was Elvati. The song was King, which is going to be on their upcoming album, which comes out who the fuck cares when.
Hey now.
I'm going to buy it. I'm going to see them. Like, bear no doubt to that. But I don't know when the date is, and I don't really care. I will. I mean, they're going to be touring at the end of the year, and that's going to be fun. They put on a good show, all 13 of them.
They're like the polyphonic spree of folk metal.
God, I'm
just get anybody and everybody up on stage and just
can you bang sticks? Get up there. Yeah, I'm all kinds of a dick today. Anyway, the song was really good. It was heavy, but the video itself was even kind of more of a waste of time than the In Flames video was. It was basically just Elvati playing their instruments in a field with trees and shit because they're Elvati.
Of course.
And it was just completely focused on the lead vocalist just screaming at a camera the whole time. A couple clips to the drummer and stuff. That's all it was. Him being angry. Song was good. It was definitely a heavy song. Definitely a lot of anger in the song, and he looked pissed off in the video, so that's kind of cool. But aside from that, it was pretty much Elvati in concert in the woods. So there you go.
Again, not something we haven't seen before.
Right, exactly.
But what are you going to do there?
I don't care.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I really liked the last album.
Yeah.
Which the name is
Helvetios.
Helvetios. I really liked Helvetios. I've heard the song. I like the song very much. So we will see again.
They were good opening. They were good with Winter Sun last time they were around. So I'm looking forward to another tour.
That show, I'll never forget that show because people were like by leaps and bounds clearly more excited to see Winter Sun than Elevati. Right. But Elevati still came out and they put on a good show.
Yeah, they did.
So yeah. Anyway, we have news from Slipknot. Apparently, their new album is completely done. Correct?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Per Corey Taylor. I almost said per Corey Butterworth, but that's not right.
I might have shared on the quickies at one point. That's valid. That's justified.
So yeah, that'll be a thing. We still don't know who's drumming on it, who's playing bass on it, but yeah, that's a thing. And then finally we have news from Nocmistium, who are going to be hanging it up after the release of their upcoming album, The World We Left Behind. That's coming out in less than a month. That's August
crazy.
5th on Century Media. We already know Blake Judd is going back to do, once this is over, he's going back to his side project, Hate Meditation. And the album art for The World We Left Behind is it's interesting. It's not very
Nocmistium-esque.
No, it's certainly not in keeping with previous Nocmistium album art. Very not safe for work. There are
Titties.
some boobs. There are some boobs on the cover.
Yep.
And it looks actually, I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones at all, but it looks, the woman on the cover looks kind of like Melisandre from Game of Thrones, this red priestess witch type person. So that's kind of cool.
You.
I'm gonna nerd out a little bit, but
that's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, that's coming out on August 5th. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. How about you?
Yeah, why not? It'll be good. I mean, I kind of like the different artwork, though. You know, maybe that means like they'll for their last album do something kind of way off the beaten path a little bit for Nocmistium, which is kind of weird to say, but yeah, who knows? I didn't hate the artwork. It was just different. That's all.
Yeah. We'll see, and we'll see how that sounds. Again, we have less than a month until that drops and until the end of Nocmistium, so we'll check that out. That will wrap up headlines for the week. Again, some interesting news all around the place, but let's move into some new releases. We've got a bunch of really, really interesting albums to get to this week. Leading off, let's talk about Judas Priest. Let's talk about their 17th studio album,
Jesus.
Redeemer of Souls.
Yeah.
What'd you think of this one?
Okay. Overall, I enjoyed it. I really did. I thought it was a fun listen. It sounded like old Judas Priest, which is in its own right rather impressive considering what we're talking, 40 years?
Yeah.
40 years. So that's damn impressive. And I'm also appreciative of the fact that they're still churning, or that they churned out something that sounds like them, because they do it so well anyway. I thought the album was long, though. I want to say I didn't.
Yeah.
I want to say I didn't finish it. I got through like 3/4 of it before I moved on to some of the other albums we were going to listen to, because I felt like I got the idea type of thing.
That was one of my gripes as well. It was 13 tracks, almost a 61-minute runtime.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting to myself. I'm taking notes as I'm listening to this. I'm like, why is this 13 tracks? Why is it not like 9 or 10, maybe 40 or 45 minutes long? Just because it's good, I think, and you're right. I think it does sound like classic Priest, but it also does start to get a little same sounding after a while.
For sure.
There's just they're just run out of it. Kind of runs out of places to go a little bit early in the game.
Yep. Yeah.
But that being said, I agree with you. It was a fun listen. Certainly the best of their post reunion albums. I think it beats the hell out of Nostradamus, their previous album. Not that it needed to try particularly hard.
Yep.
And I think it's quite a bit better than Angel of Retribution as well. Stuff like Dragonaut, the title track.
I thought the title track was the best song on the album.
I think so too. I really liked it when it first came out, and I think it's probably still my favorite right now. But Dragonaut's fun. It certainly has its moments throughout. I really like Sword of Damocles. I like Battle Cry. I want to like March of the Damned, but I just think it's kind of stupid.
It was that song. I mean, I felt like
it's stuck in my head though. Like as stupid as it is, it's kind of stuck in my head.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's not like an earworm. It's an ear parasite. I mean, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
I mean, I didn't think the song was particularly bad. I didn't think it was of any quality, like any real quality. I just thought it was a little different. And at that point in the album, I actually kind of appreciated that. You know.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all I have to say on. I mean, it was overall though. It was a decent listen. It wasn't a bad listen at all, and I can at least appreciate that.
Yeah. For the most part, I think it definitely, like I said, it starts to all blend together in the middle. I thought like Metalizer was kind of stupid, and I wasn't a fan of the fact that they ended it with a ballad. And it's just like, especially after they had built it back up, like like Battle Cry, the penultimate track is really good, upbeat, very exciting song. And then it ends with a ballad.
Right.
And I'm just like...
Doing it wrong. I mean, ballads have a place in an album, and it's usually either right after the first third or right before the final third. Right when you need to mix it up a little bit. I think, like, for example, just because it came back up with me this past week, but Insomnium's Lost Tonight, it comes in at, it's like the 5th song in the album out of, 12, and it's, the perfect time for it. Anywhere else, it probably wouldn't have worked. That's where you need to have your ballads, not friggin' as the last track on the album, because then you're just kind of
So, again, the album is Redeemer of Souls. It's Judas Priest's 17th release, and it's fun. It's fun. Not anywhere near the top of my list, but it was a good listen. So that was fun. Next up, we have a new one from Origin called Omnipresent. It's the 6th full-length studio effort from the Kansas technical death metal band, and in their first in a little bit more than 3 years. I really like this one.
I actually did too. I was so impressed with the technicality behind the music, the intricacies of the guitar playing, the cadence of the songs.
It's merciless. It's really merciless.
It's so intense. It's so intense. It beats the shit out of you. But it beats the shit out of you, and then it just walks away after a couple minutes because it's not a very long album, right?
Right.
I mean,
no, it's 13 songs, 36 minutes. That's for those keeping score. That's less than 3 minutes a track.
Yep.
It doesn't take any longer than it needs to kick your ass.
Right.
You got a handful of longer, 3 to 4 minute tracks, but most are around 2.5.
Right.
Everything just really segs naturally together. It just very few breathers. It's just terrific. I really like it.
They're going to be around in the not too distant future as well. I'll probably make an effort to catch them when they're in the area.
Yeah.
Because shit, why not?
Yeah,
Good
absolutely.
album. Yeah.
Highlights for me, just if you're looking for a couple tracks to check out. Highlights for me, I really liked Unattainable Zero.
Yep.
I liked Redistribution of Filth, which is just an awesome song title. Let's just pause there and take a moment for that song title. Yeah. The Absurdity of What I Am is really good too. Origin, Omnipresent. It's out now on Nuclear Blast. Check it out. It's worth your time.
No question.
Moving into an album that I did not have a chance to listen to, but Corey did. Let's talk about Chasma. It's their 3rd full-length album, Omega Theorian. Now, this is a Portland-based black metal band.
Yep.
So lots of things that Corey likes.
2 things that I like.
right off the bat. Why don't you? I know you had a chance to check it out. Why don't you fill us in? What's the deal here?
Sure, why not? So more good things out of Portland. Black metal, but it has a very, very doomy feel to it. The album starts off with almost this goofy introductory song with this female voice, and I was like, oh, so this is just going to be a completely different album altogether. This is going to be something unlike anything I've heard ever. And then it's just pretty much straight up doomy black metal that should have come from Scandinavia. But it's awesome. It's actually really well done. I didn't really pick out any tracks because this is an album I just kind of had on while I was like doing shit. Because let's face it, dude, these albums take a lot of time out of my life to listen to them each week.
My whole process for this is it takes a while because I like to give it like a feeler listen where I listen to it straight through and I don't think about what I'm hearing and I just like process it.
Sure.
And then I go back and listen to it and take notes, and that just, it just takes a while.
Yeah, it does. Especially considering we record these bad boys on Wednesday, which means these came out yesterday, which gives us a 1 day turnaround time.
We have about 36 hours to check all these things out.
You're welcome, world.
Yeah, doing it for the fans. Doing it for the fans. For journalism.
For journalism. No, it's a good listen though. I actually really enjoyed it. The production's raw, which I appreciate, almost like Celestial Lineage raw. That kind of thing. So it was
Celestial Lineage.
That'll come up in a bit. But no, it was an enjoyable listen. They're good at what they do. I may go back to it at some point, in wintertime. But yeah, but I appreciate it. Whatever.
Nice. Well, it is on my list. I do intend to get to it at some point this week. So, again, that is Chasma. The album is Omega Theorian, and it's out now on Candlelight Records. Finally, we have the 5th album from a band we both love, Wolves in the Throne Room. Another Portland black metal band, more of an atmospheric black metal band. But to call this a metal album wouldn't really be fair, would it?
I would call it more, and I was actually thinking about this when I was listening to it. I was going to say, these aren't songs. This is an album of dark ambient sound. Mm-hmm. Very pretty dark ambient sound, but it's not like, metal songs compiled into an album. It really isn't that. It's more of like this one cohesive piece of music. And I will say when I was listening to it, actually, you could pick out like musical phrases that very closely relate to things off of Celestial Lineage. Mm-hmm. They were very defined.
It was designed, the band has announced it as a companion album to Celestial Lineage.
Right.
And yeah, I definitely hear those elements at times. I think it's interesting. It's more, it's dark ambient. There are shades of krautrock here and there.
Sure.
If I'm being honest, I can't say it excites me as much as I can't say it'll draw me back as much in the same way that their previous stuff has.
Right.
Just because it all kind of blends together.
It does.
But I respect the hell out of them for making this record. I'll tell you that much.
No, me too. I mean, they're just doing their thing, and they don't really give a shit, which I appreciate. I will probably go back to this and revisit it. And for certain scenarios, I feel like this would be a great album to listen to. This isn't something where if I want to go listen to music, I'm going to pull this up. But if I'm going to be doing something, I feel like this could accompany a lot of the things I'm into, hiking or whatever it may be. It doesn't make a difference. But it's a companion album to Celestial Lineage, and I feel like it's more of like a companion album to other situations. It's not just something you sit down and listen to. I don't think it's meant to be that way.
Right. Well, I will say, I had an amazing experience with this earlier today. So I'm reading a book right now called 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami, which is kind of a pretty trippy, surreal read at times.
Yeah.
We're talking about shit like two moons in the sky and religious organizations called the Little People and stuff like that. It's a mess. It really fucks with your head.
Yeah.
And Celestite was the perfect soundtrack to this. I'm reading this on the subway and I'm listening to Celestite and I'm just like, this music is making the book seem that much weirder, and the book is making this music seem that much more haunting and creepy, and it's wonderful. It's a wonderful match. It's like steak and red wine.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, it's something you need to do, or something you need to listen to while you're doing something ridiculous like that. Walking through a cemetery at night, or walking through the woods at night, or walking anywhere at night.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, definitely.
I thought the album, despite the fact that it's not an album like I said you pick up and you just sit down and listen to. It really isn't one of those. But I felt like the album itself was very well composed. I thought, it was a perfect companion album to Celestial Lineage for what it was. And I respect him for doing it, so I can't really question it all that much, I really can't.
Yeah. Definitely. So the Weaver Boys, Wolves in the Throne Room. Again, the album is Celestite. That's out now on their own record label, Artemisia. So check it out. It's
Why not?
it's an interesting listen. It's definitely I would say it's very much worth your time. So that will wrap up new releases for the week. As per usual, let's move into some old releases. We'll do our retrospectives now. Corey, what do you got this week?
I am keeping in true spirit of what's going on in the world, my world, because it's the one that counts.
3 weeks.
As I mentioned earlier, alluded to earlier, I've been listening to a lot of my old school German bands. You probably noticed that in the stage dive from this past day. Well, 2 days ago from the time this airs, but you know what I mean. This past week, sticking with the German songs, and I actually went back to Equilibrium Sagas, which is the album that really got me into this band. I remember distinctly, I believe it was sophomore. I remember distinctly, and I'm going to say something that's going to make it sound like I don't mean that at all. I remember distinctly listening to Unbesiegt, and I think less distinctly it was sophomore year in Delplane.
It was indeed.
Yeah.
I had about $5 worth of Amazon credit or iTunes credit. This thing was on sale, and I was like, oh, folk metal. Let's check it out.
Right. And
I got you into it. I got Kevin into it. Not John. John's not a
John's
metal
not
guy,
a person. No, John's a person. He's a person. He's just
John's
not a
a
metal
person.
He's just a,
But yeah, that was the beginning of our beautiful relationship with Equilibrium.
right. And they obviously put out a new music video that may or may not be the most ridiculous thing ever this past couple months. It is, by the way. Bitter. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. But anyway, that made me want to revisit some of their older stuff because this album is just a fucking joy to listen to. The prologue, Auf Erden, for those that care, is a fun intro to the song. I think Mana is one of the coolest songs in the album, and it's just like an instrumental closer. That's freaking over 16 minutes long.
Yep.
But you got the song they released the video for in Blutem Auge, which is kind of intense. It's a good album, good song. But then you move into like Unbesiegt, which has way more of a folky feel to it. I don't know. The album just doesn't let up. It's just a fun listen. I throw this thing on and I want to like just do sprints around wherever the fuck I am because why not?
It just gets me pumped.
It does.
It's like
does.
really.
It's like let's do cocaine.
No, let's put on our cod pieces and then do cocaine.
Exactly.
There are so many just awesome tracks here though. Like I know you mentioned Unbesiegt, you mentioned Blutim Auge.
Verrat.
Verrat is great. I like Snoofel because Snoofel like halfway through that turns into like it sort of rips off the what the hell is it? I think it's Lagrange. I think it's like the ZZ Top riff. It's like the da 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 da. Like there's just like an entire bridge part that is ZZ Top, and I'm just like, holy shit, this is amazing. Heimwarts is good. I mean, it's such a good album. Roof Den Wind, I always like too.
Roof Wind, yep.
But yeah, it's just
a
an
joy.
old favorite.
It's just a freaking blast to listen to. It really is. It's cheesy, it's ridiculous, but it's just so much fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
What
Fun fact: there is exactly one member of the Sagas lineup still in Equilibrium today.
I know. That's why I just haven't really invested a ton of time into them since then. I'll still listen to all of it, obviously, because it's still Equilibrium, kind of. But that was the pinnacle for me.
Yeah,
as far as I've listened to. Yeah.
So very good choice. Very good choice. I went a bit further back. I went with Rush's "Hold Your Fire," 1987. So we're talking full on synth era Rush.
Yeah.
A lot of their albums from this era. Basically, the synth period from Rush was basically from 1982's Signals through Presto in '89, I believe. 89? Yeah. And a lot of the albums from this era get a lot of acclaim. We're talking Signals, Grace Under Pressure, Power Windows. This one is always kind of like off to the side. It has its share of staples. We're talking Force 10, we're talking Mission, Time Stand Still, which is probably one of my top 10 Rush songs, period.
Sure.
But I saw this. I was home in Pennsylvania over the weekend, and I went to Barnes and Noble, and I bought a CD. Because I was like, what the fuck am I doing? But this CD was all of $5, and I was in Barnes and Noble anyway, so I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's expand my Rush collection. And this is just really damn good.
Yeah.
This is a great album. I mean, there are so many. I mean, you have the staples, but there are some really cool deep cuts there, like Prime Mover, Lock and Key, Turn the Page, which I don't know what it is with songs, like bands having awesome songs called Turn the Page. Rush has one, Blind Guardian has one, Hypocrisy has one, and they're all kick-ass. Like,
they are all
what is this?
very, very good songs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna pick up my fucking piece of shit Stratocaster and write a song called Turn the Page, and guess what? It's gonna be fucking phenomenal. Why? Because I called it Turn the Page. I feel like there's another band too that you left off that list, but I can't think of it right now. Blind Guardian, Hypocrisy. I mean,
Bob Seger has one that Metallica covered.
well, Metallica doesn't count for anything.
Well, they do if you ask Avenged Sevenfold, who thinks Lars is the best metal drummer to ever live.
Oh, that's cute.
That's a thing.
Bro, do you even double kick? No, I don't know how. You're right. I don't know, but yeah. Turn the page.
Right, turn the page. I don't want to pretend that this thing is a perfect album. It has its missteps. There's one in particular called Tai Shan. It's the penultimate track on the album, which is just one of the stupidest songs I've ever heard in my life. It's cheesy beyond belief. To give you an idea, the chorus lyrics go, "I stood at the top of the mountain and China sang to me." I'm like, just stop. Just next track, please.
Seriously.
But that said, for the most part, the good far outweighs the bad here. This thing kicks an ass, and I think it's one of Rush's more underappreciated albums. So definitely a fun listen. Rush, Hold Your Fire from 1987. Do it.
Word.
Do it. So we that'll do it for retrospectives. Let's move into our final segment. Horns up, horns down. You know what this is. Stuff we like, stuff we don't like from the past week. Corey, what do you got for horns up?
Well, I mean, there are a couple things I was kicking back and forth, but I already kind of filled you in on one, which was the lineup tool for Wacken. So I'm gonna go to the other topic we've hinted about multiple times already on this episode, the World Cup. Specifically, Tuesday. I will say Tuesday, because that makes more sense to you. I was at the office.
Because timing is funny.
Timing is a joy. I was in the office. 4 o'clock rolled around. I was getting ready to pack up. I ended up leaving around 4:25, which was nice. And I'm sitting there, and I've got, the score checker on for the Germany-Brazil match, which, by the way, a lot of hype for this match. These are two of the most successful countries in the world in World Cup play. The two countries that have played the most World Cup games, actually, in the history of the World Cup. Only the second time playing each other. The first time Brazil beat Germany in the final. Not going to go there.
2002.
Bingo. Ronaldo beating Oliver Kahn. Memories.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's okay. Miro got the record from him, so.
Yeah, he did. So that's true. So I'm sitting there in the office. I'm doing some stuff, and I check the score at the 12-minute mark. 1-0 Germany. Yay! Everybody's excited. I freak out at my desk, and my manager yells at me. 10 minutes later, 2-0. 2 minutes later, 3-0. 1 minute
30
later,
30 seconds later,
4-0. 1 minute later, 5-0. Halftime. And this is all happening while
Brazil was down 5-0 after 29 minutes.
29 minutes. And the first goal was scored at 11 minutes. So they scored 5 goals within 18 minutes, and 4 of those goals within, six minute span? I think it was 4 goals in 6 minutes, which is unheard of. I mean, the team, Brazil, just completely folded. The final ended up being 7-1. I went back and rewatched the first half, mostly just because I wanted to hear the British commentary because it's entertaining as shit to me, which you can understand. Just some of their words that they use are just like, that's a perfect way to describe this. But it was a complete trouncing, and they naturally, progressed to the final, which is going to be played Sunday and they'll be playing Argentina, who just beat Holland, which to me was probably, I watched the whole thing, but it was a long 2.5 hours of viewing because wasn't a ton of action, and then Argentina went to win on PKs because it's the World Cup, and of course they won on PKs in the semifinals.
This has been the World Cup of PK shootouts, like
in the knockout round for sure.
Seriously,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the exact number is, but people. I mean, they've been saying now that this is one of, if not the highest extra time penalty kick totals in any World Cup.
I was gonna say this is at least the third or fourth game to go to PKs, and I can already think of two other games that went to extra time, being the U.S. loss and the Argentina win. I think it was in the quarters, where Messi scored like the 110th minute or whatever it was. I don't think I'm mistaken in that, right? He scored one extra time, I think. I just can't remember which game.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe you're right, yeah.
So there's been a lot of them, which is, of course, exciting, but at the same time makes for sometimes a rough 90 minutes of play. Not always, but sometimes. So World Cup, going great. All ready for Sunday, all jacked up, all nervous as shit because... I will be in Germany in, 2 weeks after that fact. So if it could not suck, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be the best.
Do you think it's Germany though? So part of me is thinking like if they win, they'll still be partying.
Yeah.
But part of me is also thinking like German efficiency, like they're very to the point. They're very like, okay, let's get to work.
Yeah. No, if
they lose, they'll probably be over it. They'll probably have like tripled their economy by that point, just out of the sheer motivation factor.
Yeah.
We must improve.
We must beat them next year. If they win, they will party and they will go to work on Monday morning. If they lose, they will drink and go to work on Monday morning. And then they'll either party the following weekend because they won, or they will just not do anything the following weekend because they lost. They have a modus operandi, and I don't think it'll be that bad if they lose. I would just prefer they win. I know Berlin gets a little nuts because it's an artist city and it's a modern city. Like down by the Brandenburg Gate, they have the famous fan mile, where there's a mile stretch. Usually it's about 500,000 to 600,000 people all watching the game outside. Again, 500,000 to 600,000. That's the entire city of Boston watching these matches in downtown Berlin. So I'm sure Berlin will be a little bit of a shit show on Sunday one way or another. But yeah, no, German efficiency, they'll be, doing their thing either way. They're not going to... the work's still going to get done because Germany and stuff.
I just can't believe that as of Sunday, this is over again.
It's so depressing, dude.
We're done for 4 years. Like,
I'm so upset. I'm so upset. I don't even know what to do with myself. I have to watch baseball the rest of summer. Fuck. I will have the MLS.
I'm just gonna play not sports for the rest of the summer.
Well, we will have the MLS, and we will have a Timbers game to go to soon after.
This is true.
And then
here's the thing, though. Like when faced with the prospect of just baseball, I will watch Twitter instead. I will watch Twitter to pay attention to NBA free agency news over watching a baseball game. Well, that's how bored I am by baseball these days.
Well, I was actually talking about this recently. No, baseball fucking blows my mind at how miserable the games are. I can't sit through like 3 innings. But I was just, I was just thinking about this. I was talking about this the other day with my stepdad, who came over to watch the Germany-France game this past weekend. And when it boils down to it, the final is Sunday. I have a week and a half until I leave, and I'm just going to be fucking playing my ass off to get the hell out of here. I come back 2 weeks later, and, the MLS is going to be back in full force. And what's more is we're getting close to preseason football and college football time. We really are. Like, we're talking the end of the month, and it's only like 2 weeks from that point. So it won't be that bad. I will survive, guys. I'll be okay. I promise. It'll suck for a couple weeks, but I will make it.
Yeah.
Assholes don't care.
Yeah, we're like losing our audience now. So, Germany
and metal and sports. All right, what do you got for horns up though?
So my horns up tonight, as of recording night, which is Wednesday. One of my favorite shows is coming back on TV. It is The Bridge on FX. It's coming back for its second season. This is, of course, the Bridge is it's a crime drama that's set around. It's adapted from a European show, but it's set on the U.S.-Mexico border in El Paso and Juarez. And in the first season, it sort of focused on a single serial killer mystery, but it also was really interesting in that it brought in both cultures, and it brought in the clash of both cultures, because the story is there was a murder, and the victim was left on the border.
Jesus.
So it's being investigated by teams from Juarez, police teams from El Paso. It's really good. It's just the cast works really well together. Diane Kruger, who was in National Treasure, is in it. She plays the American cop. Demian Bashir, who is a great Mexican actor. He was up for an Academy Award a couple years ago. He plays the Mexican cop. It's just really terrific show. It was one of my favorites from last year, and I'm thrilled to have it back. So
nice.
Wednesday nights, unfortunately, yet another FX show that I'm really interested in watching that airs on Wednesday nights. So I'm going to have to watch these a day later. But yeah, no, it's just really, it's a good time. And I'm really, by all accounts, the second season is off to a great start, from what the critics have said so far. So
nice.
Looking forward to it. The Bridge on FX. Can't wait. So that'll do it for Horns Up. Let's move into Horns Down. Corey, what's been getting on your nerves this week?
This is something that's been getting on my nerves this past week, but it's completely self-induced. So Monday I experienced probably my worst hangover since some of those Four Loko nights back in college, which is astounding. So obviously I had a long weekend. I got out of work around 2 or 3 on Thursday, Friday off, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday was back to work. So Friday, I didn't want to go out. Got home, me and my roommates hung out, and like we used to do at Alpha Sigma Satan on Thursdays, we just drink beer and watch Archer and shit. I sat around for about 6 hours in my house with my roommates drinking a lot of beer and watching Archer and shit. Went through 8 beers that night, woke up a little hungover, had to rally quickly though because I had to pick up more beer, and I bought about 2 30 racks, a couple 12 packs, all German beer of course, for the Germany-France game. Started drinking heavily for that game, had averaged about 2 to 3 beers per half because obviously I was nervous, so I kept sipping. So we're talking 5 beers, we'll say, by the end of the game. Naturally, we went outside and played, games and shit in the backyard. Beer during that, more beer during the second World Cup game, and then we went out for the evening. So we're talking probably upwards of 20 to 25 beers that day. Then Saturday, mind you, this isn't even the weekend yet. Saturday was more of a repeat of Friday, same idea. And then Sunday, horrible hangover. How do I fix it? I go to the beach with my friends with more beer. Throw back a 12-pack over the course of the 7 hours I'm at the beach, and I go home. I'm gross. I'm tired. It's been a hard weekend. I wake up on Monday to go to work, and my body just doesn't work. It was awful. It was awful. It was like the perfect storm of hangovers. Everything just kind of kept compounding. And it's like, wait, finally, there's not more alcohol coming into your liver. Finally, after 4 days, this is great. Except you're not. It didn't go well. It didn't go well.
Man.
But hey, man, it's the 4th of July. I did it for America, or something.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. No, but that kind of made my week off to a sour start. But again, self-induced. I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey, at least it was for a good cause.
So yeah, yours. I'm sure you have your horns down for this week, and hopefully it involves less cirrhosis of the liver. So please.
Now, fortunately, my horns down involves no cirrhosis of the liver. So, my horns down for the week. My roommate and I are looking for a new third in our apartment. Just from just circumstances that arose with the previous roommate. It's obvious it was just not a situation she had to take care of. She had to leave the apartment, unfortunately, and we wish her well. It's everything's cool between us, but just the whole process. My horns down is the whole process of roommate searching. Yep. It's just such a pain in the ass. We have been in this place for just a little more than 2 years now. And this will be, our impending replacement will be the 5th third roommate that Irina and I have had. And it's just, I don't know what it is. That third room is cursed. We can't keep anyone in there for longer than 6 months. It seems like, but yeah, it's, you come home from work and it's like, all I want to do is decompress. And then I have to continue to put on my happy face and interview people and show the place off and run through the same like lines that I've rehearsed, every 6 months now. But ultimately it's worth it because, hey, it means we'll be dividing everything by 3 instead of by 2. But it's never fun. The journey, this is one of the instances where the destination is a shit ton better than the journey. which isn't most things you encounter in life. But
Dan Kaplan in the 5th third.
So that's my horns down. Roommate searches.
Yeah, it does suck.
But we'll get through it. We have to fill the space by the 20th, so we're gonna get through it no matter what.
Yeah, you've got a week and a half. They'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm not too.
If you're showing enough people it, then that's a good thing.
Yeah, we put it on Craigslist, and it's like it's a cheap room. That's the thing. It's a cheap room, and it's in a good neighborhood. So we'll fill it. But yeah. So that'll do it for Horns Down. That'll do it for episode 13. Anything else we forgot about this week, or thinking we're good?
I think in all our incoherent ramblings, we covered everything.
I gotta say, our fans are probably pretty pumped that the World Cup is over as of Sunday because now we're past the point of approximately 30% of our podcast being dominated by soccer talk.
Soccer talk.
It was a nice 4-week run, but now we're ready to move on and go back to just metal.
Soccer talk, now featured on Horns Up, a weekly metal conversation.
So, alrighty.
Brutal.
Well, that will do it for us. A reminder: keep an eye out for more content on the Horns Up blog. We'll have the dump coming at you tomorrow. All the content that we mentioned today but couldn't physically share. We will be back with another Sunday side splitter on, you guessed it, Sunday, and we will have another top 10 coming your way. Not gonna spoil it for you, mainly because I haven't thought of it yet, but so I have nothing to spoil. But we will have another top 10 for you on Monday. Again, that will all be on our blog, hornsupmetalshow.com. You should also like us on Facebook, facebook.com/hornsuppodcast, and follow us on Twitter at Horns Up Podcast. For Corey Butterworth, I am your host, Dan Kaplan. This has been episode 13 of the Horns Up Podcast. Thank you, as always, for stopping by. And remember, live,
love,
plow,
horns up.
We'll see you next week.